man's, he's like, yo, he's like, how long we gonna stay out here? They ain't come back yet, yada, yada, yada. But here's my thing, man. I move like the military. And my thing is like this. The military is where no man left behind. You know that? I'm not sure if that's the Marines motto or all of them, but the point is they don't leave a man behind the battlefield. So my thing is, if ever I go out with somebody, I came with you, I'm going to leave with you. And the same way you came out with me is the same way you're going to return home. If it's within my power. Somebody want to go off on their own, that's one thing. But, I'm not leaving nobody, so I wasn't going to leave. Because I wish to welcome everybody back to another episode of LB Tales from the Hood. And today's episode is called No Man Left Behind. This story takes place when I'm around the age of 20 years old. So it's roughly around the time I moved back. I moved back to New York from Virginia around 1997. So this is probably around either late 97, maybe early 98, something like that. But anyway, I go out one night. It's me and it's two friends of mine I grew up from childhood. And one of my friends, he had his man there. So me and three other fellas. Okay. We go out, hanging out, do what young men do, looking for females, hanging at clubs, whatever. So I think it was roughly around like 10, 11 o'clock at night. The friend of one of my friends, he's like, he need to see his baby moms real quick. So we was over by Brooklyn. He was like, she stay over in the Coney Island projects. So we drive over there to the projects over by Coney Island. And the guy, when he goes out to see his baby mom, it's one of my friends from childhood. He's like, he was like, come out with me, to the crib. And my friend is like, he's like, what you talking about? What do you need me for? He said, nah. He said, come with me. Which I didn't realize at the time the reason why is because he figured that he knows his man, which is my other friend, he know more than likely he would leave him if he took too long. So he figured that being that I was a driver, if he had, my other homeboy with me, he figured that, we wouldn't leave him. So, I was like, so my homeboys asked me, what should I do? I'm like, I'm going to get out. I was like, go handle your business. He said, nah. He said, I want you to come with me. So, the guy I grew up with, sometimes, I don't know. He's let's say sometimes he's easily persuaded. So he got out the car with him. Okay. They go out. And I'm telling him, I'm like, we going to be here, whatever. There was really no place to park at the time. So I think I had double parked or whatever. So it's me and my other man. We waiting on his man and my homeboy, whatever, while he going to see his baby mama. So what happened is when we sitting there, the police came. The police came and was like, whoop, whoop, throwing the lights. They was like, you got to move it. So I had to go around the block. And that's the only time we left. We leave, go around the block. I do a circle, come back into the project. So I'm parked up there. And it's funny because where I was parked at, it was like there was a projects on the left side and a projects on the right side. So anyway, my man and the other dude and my friend's man, they went to the projects on the right. But anyway, there's a significance to this. I'm just trying to basically lay the picture out, but there's a reason why I say that too. But okay, so they gone. So at first it's like a half hour, 45 minutes past, an hour past. And here's the funny thing. Back then, they had cell phones, but not everybody had cell phones. At the time, I didn't have a cell phone. We relied more on pay phones back then. So that's pretty much how we communicated. So it's not like I could hit my man and say like, where y'all at, whatever. So anyway, it's like I said, we was there maybe 10:30, 11 at night, something like that. So we know this is going on almost midnight. So my other man sitting there, he's like, man, this is crazy. He's like, what the hell is taking us so long? Blah, 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 blah. So what we do is this. Finally, I find some place I could park up. Didn't see any police. I said, all right, me and my homeboy go over to where we seen the project building because we don't know. He don't know where his man's baby mom stays. All he knows is she's in one of the projects. So we head over to the projects that we seen them walk towards. So we see a couple guys like, what's good, man? We was like, we just here looking for, our homeboy. He came through. So then they was like, what he look like? So we start describing the other dude, my homeboy's man, which, basically, I don't know how to put this. I'm trying to put it in sanitizer pot because I don't like offend anybody, but it's like my homeboy I grew up with, let's say like this. He's not considered a street dude, and it's not even about that. You don't have to be with street people, but it's the situation he was in. Some people felt like he maybe couldn't handle it, so let's put it like that. But see, I don't discriminate. I don't care about none of that. My man, you're a homeboy, we grew up together. You're my man, you're my man. I don't worry about nothing about that. But the point is, when we describe my other homeboy's man, he's like the tall, light-skinned kid, and they said he was with such and such, and I'm not going to repeat what the guy said because it's a little offensive, but that's how we knew he was talking about, the other guy. So he's like, yeah, whatever. And they was like, nah, they was like, I seen him earlier, but I ain't see him again. And he was like, oh, he was like, dude's supposed to be seeing his baby mom, whatever, whatever. And they said, nah, they was like, we don't know, but you know what I'm saying? If we see him, we'll let you know something. So I was like, all right, we gonna be, you know, we going posted up in the car, whatever, we waiting for them. Okay. So another 30 minutes past the hour. My other man's, you know, he's like, yo, he's like, how long we gonna stay out here? They ain't come back yet, yada, yada, yada. But here's my thing, man. I move like the military. And my thing is like this. The military is where no man left behind. You know that? I'm not sure if that's the Marines motto or all of them, but the point is they don't leave a man behind the battlefield. So my thing is, if ever I go out with somebody, I came with you, I'm going to leave with you. And the same way you came out with me is the same way you're going to return home. If it's within my power. Somebody want to go off on their own, that's one thing. But, you know, I'm not leaving nobody, so I wasn't going to leave. Because the other kid that was friends with my homeboy, he was like, yo, he's like, if it's up to him, he's like, he would have left, man. And that's what my homeboy was. He's like, yo, he said, we should just leave. And I said, nah. I said, first off, I said, I don't leave nobody. And second of all, my homeboy that he's with, if I leave him and now he's caught out here without their ride or whatever, I know they could always take the train, whatever, to get home, but you know what I'm saying? He's not used to being in certain situations. And if I would feel bad if I found out later something happened. So I was like, we can't leave. So another hour passed. He's like, yo, man, it's going on like 1 in the morning. How long we gonna stay out here? I was like, yo, I said, however long it take. I'm like, we never saw them walk back by. I'm like, the only time that we wasn't here was probably the 5 minutes when we left and we circled around the block. So I was like, other than that, I doubt they came out in that time. I'm like, we are staying right here and we're not leaving them. Okay. So this is a straight hood. Hood stuff, you already know. Hood things happen. We out there, we see dudes out there, they doing whatever they doing. They posted up on the benches right at the projects on the left. The other dudes is posted up and they bench on one side. You know, we seen all type of craziness go down. I mean, some things I'm not gonna talk about, but the whole time, man's like, yo, come on, man, like, we can't be out here all night. We out here in the projects. We like, first of all, these dudes don't know who we are. They looking crazy. And they was. And back then, here's the thing. Let me paint this picture for you. When I had moved back from VA, back then I used to get the relaxer. I mean, you know, perm is make your hair curl, relaxer make it straight. So, you know, a lot of times we call perm, it's a relaxer. But, you know, look, I was influenced a lot by Bone Thugs, Snoop Dogg, and I've been wearing my hair like that probably since like 93. Around the time, you know, 93, 94, around the time them dudes was. So it wasn't no funny bunny stuff. I had my hair straight. A lot of times I kept braided, twisted, but when I didn't have it braided up or something, I had it relaxed. But it wasn't just because of the fact that, you know, famous people was doing it. And not even people who were famous. Other people who had certain influences. Because when I was in VA, I had, you know, some Cali dudes come, whatever. I had different type of influences. So I had it. But another reason why I had it is because it seemed like my hair would never grow past a certain length when I left it natural. So it seemed like once I relaxed it, it seemed like that's when it was growing like crazy. So whatever. I had that. At this point in time we there, I had it relaxed. I didn't have it braided up or nothing. So I had my little hat on, whatever, chilling. And you couldn't tell, like, to some dudes, I think some dudes thought I was a West Coast dude. Because it's funny, because we was sitting there, and my man, we got the windows down, we chilling, vibing out. He's actually a little nervous. He's like, dude said, yo, they said something about, they looking, they like, West Coast? And remember, I think Biggie and Pac, that was like around like 96. So there was that whole tension, even though the East-West Coast was a bunch of media hype and it was a bunch of BS. You know, there's some people in the street, you know, they might have taken it like, yo, they might have felt some type of way. So he was like, already, he's like, these dudes, I heard him say something about West Coast. They looking over there kind of crazy. And then it's like, okay, we seen the dudes basically get up, cock the pistol, and it was like something. And then I'm thinking, and initially when I seen that, I'm thinking they beefing with the dudes on the other side of the projects because it looked like they standing up too. But dude, and my man was like, yo, we about to get seriously blammed out here. Like, they're gonna leave us with more holes than Swiss cheese. And I was like, and here's the thing. I wasn't trying to stay out there trying to prove I was in nobody projects, because I'm not about that, man. I'm not about trying to prove nothing. That's how you get your head knocked off your body. I used to work with this dude back in the days. His name was Chris. He was telling me about his man. He's like, yo, his man went down to New Orleans talking all that stuff to me. Yo, I'm from Brooklyn, this, that, and this. You know what I'm saying? We never scared, we this. He was like, man, the way they emptied that clip on that brother, he was like, when they sent his body back, his mother couldn't even identify him. Like, they had to have a closed casket at the funeral. He's like, you don't go in other people's territories trying to be like, yeah, I'm here, so what, with your chest all out. So it wasn't even about that. I wasn't trying to prove I was hard and none of that. But like I told him, man, I said, yo, I was like, we don't want that to be the end result. But I was like, if they start shooting, they start shooting. I'm like, but, you know, I was like, I can't leave my man. I'm like, it's not about trying to prove him hard or nothing like that, because I got nothing to prove. I'm like, it's just that I can't leave him. No man left behind, like the title of the video, baby. So he said, man, what we going to do? He's like, well, we going to be out here all night. I said, if that's what it takes. I said, what we'll do is we'll sleep in shifts. I was like, if you want, you take the first shift or whatever. I mean, I'll take the first shift. I'll stay up and you sleep. So I said, if push come to shove, you know what I'm saying? I'll wake you up in 2 hours. You stay up, I catch my nap. I said, but whatever we got to do, I said, we not leaving until I make sure that my homeboy and your homeboy is back in this car and we going safely back and getting them back to, you know, to their destination. So we sitting out there. All type of crazy things happen, like I said. I mean, I seen this dude. I mean, people don't announce their pimp, but the dude pulled up in this, like this ill Cadillac on rims, and, you know, he had a bunch of females get out, like 5, 6 females or whatever. And it's crazy because you could tell he got on the clear hills and he's like, get out there, baby, fetching wet. You know, that pimp talk, whatever, man. So, and it's crazy. Then he went to the back of the car. He's dealing with some other dudes. It looked like he had almost like some pH testing, like they was mixing something up. You know what I'm saying? Looked like some other stuff. Looked like he was dibbling, dabbling. I don't know, that white girl stuff. I don't know. Like they was testing something, doing. It was, let's just say, I'm not going to get too much in other people's business. Like I said, I'm not putting nobody's name. That was back in like 1997, 98 anyway, but let's just say there was a bunch of craziness going on. But it's the PJs, it's the projects. You're going to see all type of crazy things you stay out there long enough. But it is what it is. Like I said, I was like, we not leaving. We staying. You know what I'm saying? I thought that the dudes was beef with the other dudes. He was like, yo, he's like, they was saying West Coast. They probably beefing us. He's like, next thing you know, they're going to send them shots at the car. I'm like I said, I was like, you know, like he kept saying they're going to leave the car, more holes and Swiss cheese. What we going to do? We out here naked with nothing. We ain't got no gun. I'm like, don't matter, man. I don't leave nobody behind. It is what it is. So, sat out there. 3 hours passed, 4 hours passed, 5 hours passed, and actually ended up only being, I ended up only being the one of the shift, because my man too, I think he was a little saucy. He pretty much passed out. He, you know, basically hitting the bar a little bit. He was asleep. So anyway, about like 8 in the morning, because another thing is, all we had, like I said, was a payphone. There was a payphone not too far from where I was parked, up by the corner, somewhere around the area. I didn't want to call his house because, you know, and wake his dad up, because his dad was, my friend's dad. He, to me, was almost like a second father growing up. He did a lot for me. He would cook meals. He let me stay over. He was good people, man. I consider him almost like a pops to me. So I had respect for him. I had respect for his son. So I didn't want to call the house too late. So I waited till around like 8 in the morning. So basically, as you see, we sat out in the projects all night. 8 in the morning, I went to call the house. His dad picks up. I'm like, how you doing? It's such and such. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, and he's like, yo, first thing he said, how you leave my son and you know, out in Brooklyn and such and such. And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to explain. I'm like, I left your son. I'm like, yo, I'm trying. He's like, yeah. He was like, you know, he got in like 4 or 5 in the morning. He said he had to, you know, take the train or whatever. And this. And I'm like, I said, hold up. I said, wait a minute, he's home? I said, that's crazy. And you know, and he's going all up. And I didn't want to sit and call his son a liar, because I think his son had told me, yeah, you know, we went around there and then something, he left me. And I'm sitting there and his dad's beefing. And I'm sitting there like eating it. And I'm sitting there like, this is crazy. And I'm like, first of all, his dad was upset because he felt like his son could be in harm's way. But I'm like, if he was thinking clearly, he would know I wouldn't do that to his son. But I was more pissed at my man, my friend, or whatever, because I'm like, he should know that I wouldn't leave him. And I'm like, how you got your dad believing this? And I'm like, he gonna be looking at me crazy now, like, oh, this is what you doing now? You go, you know, to hang out and you're just gonna leave my son? And I'm like, this is bugs. So I go back and tell him, man, he's like, what? I was like, yo, he said he got home like maybe 4 in the morning. He's like, we sat out here all night for nothing. And I'm like, man, look, I was like, it is what it is. And I'm saying that at the end of the day, I couldn't go home on a good conscience thinking that he's either out here, or let's say we'd have found the next day in the news or whatever, or got the news from somebody if it didn't make the news. Oh, he got hurt or something like that, or he got stuck up, or, you know what I'm saying, he was left leaking on the concrete, whatever. I'm like, I couldn't live with that, man. You know what I'm saying? I told him not to get out the car, but he chose, he's a grown, I was about to say, but he's a grown, you know what, man. I'm like, you can't control another grown man's actions, but I wasn't leaving him. So anyway, I was tight on him for that. But, you know, basically, I'm not going to drag the story on and on and on. For the most part, that's it. But, like, the title of the story is No Man Left Behind. And see, this is another thing. This is why, if anybody go out with me, I got they back, man. I got they back to the death of me. If I went out with, if it's me and a homeboy, and you find out something happened to my homeboy, ain't nothing happened to him, they ain't happened to me. he gonna take a fall. He losing his life. More than likely, you know, you're gonna find out I lost my life too. We fall together, we fall together. But I'm gonna stand there and fight to death, and I always hold my people down. And that's why I don't hang with a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have that type of loyalty. They're not gonna have your back like that. And it's like I came to the conclusion a long time ago. If I gotta be the realest one in the room, I'm gonna be the only one in the room. So most of the times you catch me rolling for solo dolo. Although I do have some brothers, and you know, some people I consider my brothers. You know, a lot of times, some of them, a bunch of them don't even live near me. So you catch me riding for solo, and you know what? I'm completely good. I'm completely secure with that. I got the big homie rolling me all the time. That's the G.O.D. So I ain't worried about nothing. Never scared, man. But one thing I do have to say, shout out to the whole Brooklyn, man. Shout out to the Coney Island. I don't remember the name of the projects over there in Coney Island, but it was right off Coney Island, whatever. Shout out to them, because it ain't about how tough you are. Like, we surrounded by all these guys, and you know these guys are ready to get busy. Like, they're not out there with guns just for show or whatever, just to throw their guns in the air. No, they throwing in the air, they busting something off. It's BK. Everybody know how Brooklyn get down, man. So I want to thank you. Shout out. I mean, this is years ago. Anybody who was probably involved in the situation, I don't even know if they're going to see the video, but shout out to the whole Brooklyn. Shout out to Coney Island, because me and my man really could have got left out there, because these dudes have guns and they ready to use them. And they would have left us with more holes than Swiss cheese. But here's another part of the lesson. You know what I think saved us too? The fact that when I heard dudes talking, it sounded like he was like such and such. And the kids that we was talking to, he was like, yo, we just here, whatever. Did you see my man's, whatever? If I'm not mistaken, I think we heard a clip of it like, yo, such and such is just looking for somebody. Because at first, when we seen the dudes, it looked like they was about to up something. They kind of, you know what I'm saying? They put their joints. Because here's the thing. If you in somebody's hood of projects and they don't recognize you, because dudes always look, you know him? Like, yo, son, you know him? No, I don't know him. You could be a DT. Not saying they're going to bust in the Ds. Or you could be an op. You know what I'm saying? Back then, we didn't use the term ops. It could be the enemy, whatever. But if people don't know what you up to, we could have been up to no good. So they're looking like, you know him? Nah, why these dudes still out there? Especially if you out there posted up for a certain amount of time. But I think because we had gone to the building and we stated our intentions, that we was looking for a man who we was talking to, I guess, you know, I think he went out and hung out with the dudes or hollered at them. So he let them know, nah, he's looking for somebody. And that's why, basically, them things wasn't, you know what I'm saying, busting at us. Because if not, I could have got my head knocked off my body. My man could have. We could have got hit up or whatever. Like I said, it wasn't about being tough. It ain't about no gangster nonsense. It ain't about, yeah, I'm street, I got something to prove. Hell nah. You know what I'm saying? If I'm like this. I'm not afraid of anything, but if I don't have a reason to be somewhere, I ain't going. I only went there because my homeboys, man, need to see his baby mom in the projects. If not, I'm not going to be around somebody's projects I don't know. Hell, I don't even hang out in my own hood like that. I don't believe in just hanging out like that. I have purpose. So thank you, shout out to the whole Coney Island. We could have got left there. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Stay safe, stay peaceful. Keep it real always, man. This your boy LB. I'm going to have to sign off now. I don't want to make this too long. My last video is one of the longest ones, so I know you ain't trying to hear my mouth. You're like, get to the story. That's it. Done. Conclusion. Love you all, man. All y'all out there, stay safe. Till the next time. Signing off. Chill. Till the next episode. Catch you guys back real soon. I ain't going to leave that long gap like last time, man. Drop pretty consistently. Love you all. Peace.